Today, we're going to talk about the art of Arknights and how Hypergryph have mastered the perfect sauce in making the most incredible art, not only for the character design, but also in its visual language. It is a fact that gacha games live or die based on their art, because it is the first and most important step in hooking the players in to pull for their characters. Today, I'm gonna break down 4 aspects of Arknights' visual style that plays a big role on why I consider it as the best in the industry. Well then, let's get into it. But first, we have to look away from the operators and instead look to the design concept for the game's user interface. The UI design of Arknights gives us a glimpse to the sort of setting the game is taking place in. The menus are often done in a more minimalist style, with heavy use of black, white and grey, accented with saturated color variations. Everything feels methodical, simplistic, and the UI elements are not overwhelming to the eyes. For example, take a look at the UI when you're playing the stages. You have 3 buttons for pausing, speeding up, and quitting the stage on the top, with the enemy and HP counter in the middle. While on the bottom, you have the list of operators in your squad. The middle of the screen is clear of any HUD elements, giving a full bird's-eye view of the stage so as to not overload the players with information. If you click an operator, a window of information will pop up and the game will actually be slowed down, giving you the time to rethink your strategy and placement if needs be. The design style of the main menu UI also serves as the foundation from which more layers of stylization can be added on top of it, depending on the design, story, and gameplay needs of the side stories or other game modes. This kind of design mentality allows for exploration of different concepts while still keeping it consistent and coherent to the looks and feel of the world of Arknights. 4QCat, one of the members of Hypergryph's UI team, commented on the most interesting part of their work and design process in an interview, and I quote, "This inclusivity of Arknights is what makes it so fascinating. The game allows for exploration of various styles and design ideas, which I find most enjoyable. For instance, when working on Mizuki and Kerula Arbor, our UI team drew inspiration from underwater creatures, in mysterious symbols, typography, and other structural designs of underwater monuments. We also referenced many other games. When designing Tales Within the Sand, we drew inspiration from the aesthetic atmosphere of the movie Dune. The vision was to create a stark contrast between the desolation of the desert and the advanced technology, human-made interactions, and architectural structures. Under this concept, the UI design aimed to enhance the user's comfort and ease of use. Interface elements were kept clean to maintain focus on the content while subtly supporting the immersive atmosphere. It is always amazing to see these ideas come to life." End quote. The UI also benefited greatly from the implementation of motion graphics to stimulate the players with a variety of colors, movements, and sound that hooks in the player's attention, or giving them a sense of reward after completing a stage, like this, for example. Now, I want you to pay attention because this kind of design mentality doesn't not only apply to the UI but also to the design of the characters in the game. Character designs in Arknight perfectly mixes in elements that we can see in modern clothing designs as well as more fantastical elements such as the physical quirks pertaining to their individual races, as well as giving us a glimpse into their characters through visual storytelling. Now I'm going to show you 3 characters, and can you spot the detail that all these 3 characters have in common? If you have picked up everything, all 3 of their artworks feature each other in the background as cameos, highlighting the relationship they have as a group of sarcasm mercenaries. It is these little details in their design, particularly in their elite splash arts and skins, that tell us a lot about the identity of these characters, such as their races, factions, nationality, even down to the specific animals that they are based on. All skins for the character falls into a particular in-game clothing line, which in my opinion is a brilliant way to justify them in the context of the game's world building. There are 2 clothing lines that stuck out the most for me. That is the Epoch line of skins that highlights the clothing the character wears in their lives, such as Melanta's cool uniform, and Rihanna's tech wear and Nerl's armor during her days in the Kazumi Major. The other clothing line that emphasizes the character stories are the Bloodline of Combat skins. This skin line showcases the moments our characters are in their peak performance, whether it is in the past or future. Some examples are Helger's attire back when he was an Ursa's commander, United's time as Rhodes Island's chief engineering officer, and Gladia's attire as a consul for the nation of Aegir. Hypergryph employs a number of artists to design their operators, so there is a lot of variety in character designs, further emphasizing the diversity in the world of Terra. I actually want to give a little shout out to a faction that I think has one of the best collective design in all of our Arknights, and that is the Rhodes Island Elite Operators. The design of the Elite Operators signify that they are the best of the best Rhodes Island can offer, the creme de la creme of Arknights operators. Their clothing are created to look very tactical focused, and by using a neutral color scheme, their design gives a sense of professionalism and a no bullshit attitude to them. Though some of them are actually quite of an idiot. I really appreciate the structured uniformity of their outfits because it accentuates their faction identity and maintains a degree of realism to them while also celebrating each of their characters' individuality. As you can see from the various examples of characters I've shown throughout this video, there is a clear focus on providing a believable, grounded, and realistic depictions of clothing on these characters, and less on highlighting the character's sex appeal through the usage of fan service. Let's all be honest with ourselves, we all know that sex sells. Games like Arzolin, Brown Dust 2, Nikkei, GFL 2, knows how to market characters to their playbase by designing characters that wears as little clothing as possible or going above and beyond on the jiggle physics. In my defense, I do not have a problem with games using sex appeal as their main marketing strategy, when these games have proven themselves to be very successful. But it does not, however, inspire confidence in me. When so much of the marketing and conversation around these games are about how hot the characters are and how the playerbase wants to impregnate them, it is hard to dissociate their Gunnar game allegation from the actual game because the allegation isn't entirely false. But that tells us a lot more about the consumers and people who talk about these games, because game devs is only giving what the player base wants. When we switch back to Arknights, it is very clear that the majority of the characters are depicted wearing clothes that would normally be worn by people in real life, albeit stylized to fit the design of the game, though there may be some people that disagree. Fanservice elements are rather few and far between, with only a few notable exceptions, and most of the fanservice being relegated to the swimsuit skins. Even then, the swimsuits are relatively tame and tasteful to the eyes. The fanservice not only applies to the female operators but also to the male operators as well, giving a little bit of eye candy to people who appreciate the beauty of the male body. The scarcity of fanservice materials in Arknights is something that I wholeheartedly enjoy. With the game having over 100 skins, the few skins that are fanservice adjacent really feel special and something that you shouldn't miss out on purchasing. This restraint from capitalizing on the player base horniness shows confidence from Hypergryph that they trust the players to appreciate the art, storytelling, and emotional connection to these characters more than just surface level appeal. In doing so, Arknights manages to stand out from its competitor not by showing more skin, but by having more substance. With all the glazing that I've been giving Arknights art up until now, it would be pretty useless if I could not get my hands on as many of those skins as I can get. Hence, that is why one of the most important aspects of these skins is that they're free. Well, technically. The skins in Arknights can only be bought in the form of Originite Prime, the game's premium currency. While you can buy Originite Prime using real money, you can also earn them by just playing the game. By clearing story stages, EX stages, and their challenge mode, you get more than enough to even buy the most expensive skin in the game, with a few more Originite Prime to spare. And that's not all. Sometimes the game even gives you free skins by hitting milestones on a game mode or through login events, which by no means are lesser in quality than the ones in the store. When taken into account that a single Originite Prime would cost you $1 without any discounts and such, you can buy a premium skin that not only changes the look of the character but also animations and even new voice lines from them for pretty much nothing, except the time you spend on playing the game. Another thing to be aware of is that not all players live in the United States where $20+ can be spent haphazardly in a single purchase. That amount of money may not seem too bad of a deal to you, but for someone else living across the globe, that $20 could be a significant portion of their monthly income that they cannot part ways from by irresponsibly spending on a vanity item in a gacha game. With all of that in mind, it is hard to dismiss the value proposition that the skins in Arknights has to offer when the skins are accessible to practically anyone who plays the game. Arknights serves as an outlier in terms of monetizing skins, especially for a gacha game, where locking them behind exclusive currencies, or even worse, through a gacha system, is regarded as a norm in the industry. Arknights treats their skins the way that more games should, as a form of reward for the players' efforts and not a financial pressure for them. And in the hellscape of modern microtransactions, it is not only generous but also respectful towards the player base. At the end of the day, Arknights has not only blown me away by their UI design, but raised the bar on how character design is tackled in a gacha game. With its clean UI design, flexible design mentality, and how generous the game is with their skins, it is hard to find another gacha game that is better than Arknights. Sure, games like Limbus Company and Reverse 1999 cannot simply be dismissed when they are highly praised by their respective communities, but I will still give the win to Arknights, because I am simply biased. With all that out of the way, I also want to say thank you for watching. Leave a comment if you have anything to say, and like or even subscribe if you think I deserve that much attention. Let me know what type of glazing I should do next, but until then, this has been Skybird, signing off.